Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 14 of the RHIA Rapid. And I want to thank all of you for supporting this series, and I hope that it is helping you as you're studying for your RHIA exam. And I am also asking that if you know anyone that will benefit from this content, that you please share this information with those, as well as subscribing to the channel. It lets me know that I am actually helping, and that this channel is actually something that you guys want to follow and continue to see new content from. So please share. And with that being said, let's go ahead and go into today's question. So I am going to be picking a question from domain 5, and the question reads: at community health services, each budget cycle provides the opportunity to continue or discontinue services based on available resources, so that every department or activity must be justified and prioritized annually in order to effectively allocate resources. Community health uses what type of operational budget? A, activity-based; B, fixed; C, flexible; or D, zero-based? To answer this question, you are going to have to first understand the type of operational budget system that they're using at community health services. And you're also going to have to understand and define the differences between the answer choices, right? And match it to the correct answer. So before we look at community health services, let's talk about how each of these operational budget types work. So A, we have activity-based, right? So what is activity-based budgeting? What does that mean? So in activity-based budgeting, you are actually allocating resources based on activities performed. Okay, so that is how the budget is made. It's based on the activities that are being done at that or within that department. Activity-based budgeting. Okay. B, we have fixed budgeting. So what does that mean? Fixed budgeting is where you are going to set your expenses at a predetermined level. So regardless of any changes in activities and resources, you're always going to have this fixed amount of money that is set aside for that particular activity or that particular department. Flexible budgeting. What is that? Flexible budgeting is going to be the opportunity where you can actually make adjustments in your expenses based on changes that may be happening in activity levels. So here, things may fluctuate, and when those fluctuations happen, you have the ability to modify your budget based on that change. Now, what is zero-based budgeting, which is D? Zero-based budgeting is where where departments are going to be required here to actually justify their expenses from zero, which is why it's called zero-based budgeting, right? From zero for each budget cycle. So every single time a new cycle comes up, that department is going to have to justify and explain how much money they need and why the money makes sense for them to receive for that cycle. We've gone through all the different definitions, right? We have activity-based, where the budget is set based on the activities that's happening within the organization. We have fixed budgeting, where no matter what happens, there's going to be this predetermined amount that will be used. And whether or not the activity requires that money has been set aside for that purpose. You have flexible budgeting, where there's an opportunity to change the amount depending on changes that happen within an organization. And then you have zero-based budgeting, where where the department or the people within the department would have to justify how much money they need after each budget cycle. So let's now look at community health services again and determine which one is the best fit here. So looking at that first sentence, we see that at community health services, each budget cycle provides the opportunity to continue or discontinue services based on available resources. So right there where it says, just in that second line here, provides the opportunity to continue or discontinue services based on available resources, that automatically will remove one of these answers. And hopefully you know which answer I'm talking about. If you're not sure, that's going to be fixed, right? If you guys remember from the definition, when you're dealing with fixed budgets, it doesn't matter what's going on as far as activity, they have set money aside. In this situation at community health services, they can choose to discontinue a service, therefore affecting your budget, right? So that's going to automatically deduct B as an answer, right? And let's continue on here. So that every department or activity must be justified and prioritized annually. Annually is, synonymous with what we talked about earlier with the zero-based budgeting, right? Budget cycle annually. There's this consistent moment where their budgets or their resources or their needs have to be justified and prioritized in order to receive funding. The only option on this list that fits that description would be D, zero-based. So we know B is definitely not going to be the answer. A is just activity-based. They just set a budget based on activities, right? But they don't really speak so much so about having to justify anything, right? With C, flexible, if you guys remember, it is true that you have the ability to change your amounts and your budgeting based on changes, but they never once again mention anything about having to justify how much money you need. So the only answer here where justification has to take place is D, zero-based. And for that reason, the correct answer is going to be zero-based budgeting. So I hope that helps. If you're still confused on what all of these different operational budgets are or what they mean, I highly recommend reading more into these definitions and understanding them, because it's very simple to change this question, have the same name of the hospital, and then just have it say that each budget cycle, regardless of the changes within the organization, every single department is assigned a predetermined amount of money. Listening to that question, I hope, and I'm crossing my fingers here as I'm speaking, that you would say, hey, based on all these definitions, the answer has to be fixed, right? Because no matter what happens, based on that definition, fixed would be the best answer then for that new scenario that I just made. So please make sure that you're able to not only understand what these definitions mean, but that if you read or you see another scenario where they're describing that different budget type, that you're able to pick it out. And once you can do that, you are good to go for this concept. Once again, thank you for supporting this channel. Please remember to like, comment on here, subscribe to this channel, and please share this with anyone that you know, friends, schools, whoever, and let them know that this is a resource out here to help students who are prepping for their RHIA exam. And it's free $99. So thank you guys. Have a great day. And I will see you guys in our next episode of the RHIA Rapid. Bye.